So hi guys, my name's Owen Elkins. I'm here today with Kyja, who's the editor on Captus, and today we're going to have sort of a discussion about his editing style and the way he edited the film Captus. So hi Kyja, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. So my first question would be, so how did you sort of get into editing in the first place, and sort of like how did you develop your skill set in that sort of editing side of things?
So this is quite a funny story. When I was younger, I was like, as everyone does, as either like footballer, YouTuber, but I wanted to be like that YouTuber. So as you do, you're younger, you make a YouTube channel, you start like making content. At the time, I was like quite into like my games, like video games. So I was used to edit them up, like make compilations and quick edits of them. Um, and I just really like the editing side, kind of like drew me in. And then I kind of like that's like the first introduction I had to film production was the editing. And then I finished my GCSEs and stuff like that, and I thought, right, at college, what do I want to do? So I didn't really know. The only thing I really like was interested in was it video editing. So I ended up going into media productions at college, and then I just got an experience for everything. But then still, that editing just drew me in. And then obviously went on to university, and then every project I've worked on, basically, I've been the editor for.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a funny story, actually. You mentioned it being like sort of from childhood, because I sort of had the same experience. Like, it kind of starts sort of when you're young and you follow it through, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, that's interesting. I was going to say my next question would be sort of in terms of taking it towards the film Captus now. So, what was your experience sort of on Captus? So, like working with like the crew and then like editing it in post. What was your sort of experiences there?
Well, so obviously I worked with you and Liberty quite closely in like the actual like filming stage. I was doing the lighting and stuff like that, and just like being like a kind of like a runner on set. And I spoke to Liberty, and she like showed me all the videos that she kind of like got inspiration from. So I knew straight away like what kind of style of edit I was going for, and it kind of suits my style because I'm quite a I prefer to edit quite fast and quite to like music stuff like that. So it suits my style. So we went into it, we filmed it, and even like filming it, I like knew exactly like kind of getting a vision for what I was going to edit it like. And then I went into the edit. I did like rough cuts, and then I also sat down with Liberty, the director, and we went through it. And I'd probably say this is probably my longest time I've spent editing on one project because there's so many combinations we did that we ended up deleting or not using. They were good, but they just some were good, but they don't fit, and it's just like it's a big task. It was so yeah. It was quite a pleasant experience. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's interesting. You say that you had a lot of combinations because I was going to say, my next question was going to be sort of how much freedom did you have on the project? Do you feel like it was more like a director's vision and you sort of had to play to that, or did you feel like you had your sort of say in the project and you could sort of mess around and change things like you said?
So as the editor, I worked quite closely with the director, but obviously editing is my kind of like strength in the as out of the three of us, I'd say. So when editing, Liberty would be like, "Oh, what about if we do this?" And I'd be like, "Well, we can't really do this way, but we can do it this way." And then, or I'd be like, "Oh, we can do this," and then she'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's good," or maybe not, um, but yeah. So I felt like we had quite a lot of freedom. Um, I personally had quite a lot of freedom because how many shots you did as the cinematographer, and I could just take it all in. And I'd probably say we used probably like 5% of what you took. So there was just the whole time I was making like different sequences and different kind of combinations of all the clips and different overlays and different effects. Some looked really cool, but they didn't quite work in the flow of things, so we had to like take it out. But yeah, it was a bit of like I would do something and then I'll come to Liberty and we'll sit through it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And she'll be like, "Oh, we can do this. I want this," and I'll be like, "Yeah, I can do that." And I'll be like, "Oh, well, what if we do this?" And she'll be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, actually looks really good." So yeah, it was. I had a lot of freedom, I'd say.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna ask you next. You mentioned sort of. You say the differences between going in and out of different ideas and stuff. What in editing? What is the creative process that you sort of go through? Because there is a lot of creative process in terms of what you say. There's different opinions and different things, the way things work. Is that sort of why you like editing? Is the sort of um the way things all have to fit together in the edit?
Yeah, so this is going to be quite controversial, but I'd say that editing makes the film. Like, obviously,
Mm,
without editing, it's just a bunch of clips. It's just like it brings everything together. That so all the people that have worked hard, the director and the cinematographer, and all the people plan it, the storytellers, all that, and it all gets brought together in the edit. So personally, I feel like I have a lot of responsibility because the edit can make or break an edit film. Sorry, so there's a lot of pressure. So like I always go through like my actual like processes. Well, I'll take all the footage off like the cameras and put it onto my computer. I'll watch through all the clips. I'll like name them. I'll delete any things that aren't any good to me. I'll drag them all into my like editing software, and I'll just go through. I'll it kind of like it's hard to explain because when I'm doing it, it's like naturally like creative, I guess, where it's like on the spot. And then, but yeah, so I'll go through it all and piece together, and I'll go through like the scripts and stuff like that and storyboards, like, and just get like a vision for it. And once I've got a vision for it, then I can just bang out the edit basically. And then once I've done my rough cut, I'll go through it, and then I'll obviously show like directors and stuff like that. And then they'll make any changes, and I'll make the changes, and then normally we're good to go.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. That's a good answer, a good insight, I suppose. I was going to ask you then again, like sort of within Captus, and you've mentioned like perfectly sort of how the process works, but how in terms of this film Captus, did you manage to sort of show your style of editing? Like how did it sort of translate? You mentioned it being quite quick. Could you just elaborate more on that?
So Captus, I'd probably say, is my perfect like style of editing, um, because it is so fast. It's so like visually appealing, and I love like visually pleasing stuff. So I know like a lot of films and stuff like that. They're more about like the storytelling. But personally, if a film has good visuals, good camera work, and like good editing, then that's what draws me in. Like the story doesn't even like it matters, but the if it doesn't follow up with good visuals and I can't like imagine myself there, um, I'm not too interested. So um, normally, like I would like to edit like action videos and things like that, but Captus was a little bit different to like what I imagine myself going into in like the future and stuff like that. But it was still that element of that fast paced, the visually pleasing stuff and like the colorful shots. So I'd say it fit my genre quite well.
No, that's cool. I was going to say, do you think this film sort of maybe then, with your response you just said there, do you think this sort of maybe pushed you sort of outside your comfort zone almost, where you say you'd rather, well, even though you would rather edit more fast-paced things, but maybe did it push you out of your comfort zone in terms of what you're actually editing?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It did push me out my comfort zone. I'd never like done anything like that because it was so focused on drugs and had lots of hidden meanings in the thing. Like you had to really think. It wasn't just about pacing and edit together to make it look good. It was also about timings and things like that. So it obviously starts off quite slow with the music, and then it as the voice changes in the music and you hear the like drug speeches and stuff like that, and then it gets faster, and that's when you lose control. The actor like loses control, and you kind of have to just like show that in the edit, which normally editing like fast pace, it doesn't have to be such a like strong meaning behind it. So I definitely felt like the challenges behind it were quite a lot, like big step up to what I was normally used to doing. But it was a good challenge, and I enjoyed doing it.
Okay, guys, that was my interview with Kyja Eden, the editor of Captus. Go check out Captus. It's releasing on the 25th of March. So go check that out, and we'll see you guys later.